Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. So, sorry for the late video today, guys. Just got tied up. Um, Going to keep the introduction pretty small for today. These are recaps and trade recaps. Just to let you know, these are trade ideas that are discussed in my community, on the YouTube or my Twitter. I take some of these trades personally. I trade those. Most of them I don't trade, but I'm guiding my community, hundreds of traders through these trades. We do repeatable setups every day. Thousands of traders use my repeatable system, repeatable setup, and we do that. We do not do anything random. You see here is a game plan that we had today, and the game plan was PDD target, TJ Max, TOL, Urban, bunch of other names, and we will recap most of them and see how they worked out. We have initial bias in the pre-market, and based on that, if something triggers, I will share with the community. All right. In addition to that, I also share what I call is the levels. We have crypto levels. We can trade on based upon that, and EMA Clouds, MSTR coin. We will recap quickly how they did today. Then we also have our regular levels for SPY, QQQ, IWM, Netflix, BA, Amazon, Meta. You can pause the screen and see how these levels worked out. You can pause, go back to your charts. On a trend day, these levels are pretty good. They help us trade long or short. On a choppy day, they help us manage, stay in, preserve your capital. So anyways, guys, so lot to discuss on today. So I will go a little fast today. So let's start. So let's just start with the first one was PDD. So PDD was a morning loser. Why was PDD a loser? So let's look at that. you know so amateur trades are always a little tough, right? If amateur trader works into a trend trade, they are very profitable, but if amateur trader is not working, you have to get right away. So what was the game plan, right? So let's go back and see what was the game plan on PDD. The game plan on PDD was we will break versus 150, short under 150 and long over 150, and that was the plan, right? So when I saw it under 150 at the open, I took a short, and I knew that if it gets over 150, I have to get out. As soon as it got out of 150, I got out. Right. By that time, I did have few points loser on that because my entry was not that good, and but I was able to get out. Then I because it was over 150, so I decided to long with the same risk on the trend move right here. Right. So I tried to long versus 150. You can see my long here, and I already lost on the short side. Then it I and even the long side it pushed and then came back, and I knew that it's going to chop, and then I got out. The long was not enough to recover fully the short loss, and that was amateur move loss, but that's fine. And I didn't touch it later in the day, but I did guide community that if it breaks 150 again, you can short it. And I just want to avoid it when if one or two or three times I'm not able to figure out a trade or it's giving me a hard time, it's one of my rules that I don't touch it again. Now if you did not touch it, PDD in the morning and the amateur move, you could have long that 150 scalp into 156, right? That was a good enough scalp versus 150. There was a buy hail all day. And if you came even later, that 150, some people did do a short on PD later in the day, which was a 150 breakdown. You see, when this 150 finally gave up, you have to learn to read the tape, how the tape was behaving on 150. It did give a nice shot. Traders did make 50% on that, on that. Traders did make on that. You can see the traders did make that short here, right? They did 50, some of the traders did 50%, a mic did a 50%, so there was definitely a setup. But when you see this kind of action, swipe up, back down, it's very easy to lose a lot of money in first half an hour, and that we have to avoid. That is what we are trying to learn from this trade today, and it has happened before. It's not the first time, but the point is when there is a winner, we make much more money than we just lose in this trade. So I will show you in the other trades, how they impacted, right? So that was PDD. And other thing to note down is that the gap was filled. The gap was actually filled, right? Where would PDD go? It already filled that gap on the swipe down. There was not really any room for PDD to go, and then it reclaimed 50. But later in the day, there was definitely a setup. So anyways, guys, so this is my time-stamped commentary. A lot of my guidance is on the voice. So it was a morning loser, but some traders did make money on it when it broke this 150 later in the day. So let's go to the next one. So next one we're going to discuss is TJ Maxx, right? So well, let's look at TJ Maxx. So what was the plan on TJ Maxx? TJ Maxx was a trade versus 100 psychological level. It was just that simple. Simple strategy, right? TJ Maxx, EPS beat, revenue in line, told everybody trade versus 100, neutral bias, right? So you saw that 150 did not work, but on TJ Maxx, let me show you my timestamped comments. When we longed it versus, I told everybody to long it versus 512 clouds, watch the pullbacks, and my target was 105. And I was short my target by 2 cents. Just a joke, but the point is you take your profits closer to that 105, right? There was a daily level, psychological level, that was our target. So I gave the long at 940, and then you can see that, right, when we pushed, we broke out, and you could take the trade light right away on the dip, because your risk is $100. You can trade there. And but I was a small size because I know it was a little further from 100. But that 140, TJ Maxx 166, it already pushed there, right? It already pushed in the pre-market, so that was a problem. So it spoiled a little bit of good entry, but regardless, it was still a good. It was a good for a scalp. You enter 102, 103, and the target was 105, and then it breaks 512. You lock half fair, breaks 512, you get out, and then it was a nice 512 short trade later in the day, and maybe here you cover here and maybe here, right? So that was TJ Maxx, very ugly daily candle. So we'll be watching it tomorrow. It's failing 52-week breakout, I guess. Yeah, I guess so, or maybe all-time high breakouts, we'll see. But very ugly candle, so that's not what you want to see on a big breakout. So a failed breakout. So we'll be watch for a day to set up tomorrow. So next one we're going to quickly look at is TOL, Toll Brothers, the home builders. Let's go back, see what was our plan. So our plan on Toll home builders was bearish bias to short the cloud pop. 129 support, resistance was 131, 129.50. So I was already bearish because I saw that 1 hour is turning bearish, and I saw that it's under the there's this level here, that daily chart, and it's bearish. So my bias was bearish in the pre-market. It was under the clouds, that as soon as the market opened, right, I told everyone short the pops. When it faded 942, I told everyone it's a confirmed short. The first target 121.70, right? The second target 118.50 or 120. Sorry, 120 was the second target. It was like a psychological number. You can see here we are breaking the 20 EMAs, and you see that we are breaking. So we are breaking that. Breaking that. So you can see that how it was bearish, right? You can see my timestamped comments here. Tall, even if you short it at 125, even if you missed the initial and good entry at 126, even then there was a $5-6 per share short. Beautiful trade in the community. You saw that we have a loser in PDD, but then when the short works, you hold it, right? Much more payment than the loser that we had in a PDD. So very nice trade in the community. Tall, big winner. So guys, next one we're going to discuss is ADI. So let's look at what was the plan on ADI, what was the trade on ADI. So let's go back, look at our game plan for ADI. The game plan for ADI was third quarter revenue above the expectations, also a semiconductor company, maybe a B minus short if 512 breaks before the bounce. So the breakout pivot was 231.20, support was 228, but as soon as I saw the market, it pulled back and it reclaimed. You see this amateur move, it reclaimed. So this one we waited. If I had shorted it in an amateur move, I would have lost the money, but I did not see the setup until 15 minutes when it was reclaiming the clouds, and then I saw this breakout. That's when I told everybody, because this was the pivot level I gave in the plan. I said broke out of the flag, long as per the game plan, and from that breakout of 231, which was the level that I gave in the pre-market, 231.20, we went on to hit 236.82. So you see that beautiful winner, right? EMA Cloud dip, you do not get out here or this candle. This is actually you add here as long as 512 holds, and then you trade it long. So you beautiful long. You can see my timestamped comments here. ADI, beautiful breakout. You see the daily chart. It's an A plus setup on the daily breakout. I think it's an all-time high. So beautiful trade on ADI as well. So next, let's look at FSLR. So FSLR was a huge winner. We were late. I was late, but I yesterday I added FSLR into my day 3 sheet. Why? Because it was a big breakout. So you see that I gave two levels 208, 209 and 2012. 12 was the breakout. It was a big breakout yesterday. We missed that. That's why I added it today on the breakout list as well. So this is a huge move. When such kind of moves happen, that's why you need to capitalize on such moves. And traders did. This was, you see, this was my weekly chart. This was the breakout, right? So that was the 52-week breakout on First Solar. It's still way down from its all-time highs. Wow, First Solar was like 60 bucks. Great stock. Solars has been dead, but they are coming back. So solar, solar is, you see the solar ETF has been dead from its all-time highs, but it's just starting to come back up. So we have to watch solar into end of the year for swing and investments as well. And because if solar stays strong in low rate interest environment, we can really have some good returns there. And I think there's some law by Biden going around on the solar, so that's why also solar is super strong. I did share the solar watch list on my Twitter as well. But anyways, the whole solar sector was crazy strong today. And that's how did we capitalize on FSLR. You can see that all of them were strong. I maintained that list. So let's go back and see FSLR. So FSLR here, let's see. So once it broke out of that, and the targets I gave on FSLR were 245. So my first target that I gave on FSLR was 245. Let's look at here. Okay. So I told everybody that if solar are strong in the morning, that's what I told everyone. So I did mention FSLR even at 10 a.m. that from our day-to-day setup, and it continued to go highs. You just start 1/3, 1 second. You see the whole sector is strong. You know it's gonna go. You know it's a breakout, and then at 232, it's doing a 52-week breakout. That was on our scanner, and then it breakouts there, and then you take it long, right? So and let's look at what happened later. So my target was 245. 245, then I did say hold for 250, and then we hit both our targets. We hit 245 and we did hit 250 from the breakout in the from our game plan of when we were breaking out, right? Even if at 10 a.m. You if somebody listened to my alert, even then it was a nice trade from 228, and even then 52-week breakout from 232, even that gave $20. And a lot of traders in the community were trading FSLR today, and then we did short this breakdown when market was kind of flushing, but there was all day, and somebody was trying to short FSLR. I told him don't. Only short is when the clouds break. And Arsalan did 300% on FSLR, and there's always trades like that. We should never have FOMO on such plays, but we'll watch this sector in coming days. Beautiful trade FSLR, good longs today in the community. So let's look at WSM. This was the mega trade today. Look at this daily chart, guys. Look at this daily chart. These are the kind of trades that grows your account many folds when you hold your winners. So early in the morning, 9:50, I told everyone, fee 512 B minus short. If breaks versus 340, so what did it do, right? Risk was 340, and 235 was the signal, and there was actually I sent price alerts as well. You see there was a price alert, for that was the reason I sent a price alert here. If I can show you here, let me see. All right, okay, so there you go. Come on. So there you see I was talking about WSM, the setup on 512 break, and there goes my price alert. And after that, it was all day, and I gave the targets. Then it pushed. Our first target is always 3450, so 324 area. And then when that is breaking, our next target is the full gap fill. And then if that breaks, our next target is 300, right? So I gave 300 target, and after 300, a lot of traders were shorting that 300 break. It's not that you can't trade this, you can just say get one sec third one fourth size, because when this is so much selling going on, if you're shorting here, you risk low of the yesterday. If you're shorting versus 300, you risk 300. All you have to do is find a risk level and short it. If you short 3450 break, you risk 3450. You short 512 break, you risk high of this candle, the 340 that I gave you the stops, right? 340. So you fade it all day, and the options literally 500%, 1000%. That were the kind of the trades on WSM today. My final target was 275. We were close. Maybe we see it tomorrow. Nothing is too low. Look at the daily candle. If it bounces, then we'll see. We can trade it long scalp as well. But amazing trade today on WSM. This and FSLR are two examples that nothing is too high, nothing is too low, and how you trade those, right? So always focus on that, focus on the system. Do not try to buy these kind of setups. You will lose a lot of money. You see other traders who will think it's too low, support, ORSI, nothing matters, nothing really matters, right? So you see there's a support here, right here. Tomorrow we'll see what happens, 277, and then if that gives up, we have room to 260. So it will be interesting. So next one we're going to look at is urban, right? So let's look at urban, URBN, urban. So urban was, let's look at urban right here on the game plan. So urban clother beat expectations and bearish to neutral, no interest long, no interest long under 43. You see that 43? You see this 42? So 42 was support, 43 was resistance. I had no interest to long under it. And right away, Urban broke 42. Urban broke 42, and then it faded all the way to 38. I told everyone it's a short today, right? Still heavy. And all you needed to do was hold your short. Even if you shorted later, let's say you shorted 40 50s, you still made decent money, right? It's all according to the range of the stock. This stock ATR is $1. So that's a big, sorry, ATR is 80 cents. So that's a big move for a stock that trades 80 cent and it's fading like what? $2. That's a big move. So your risk is according to the ATR, how much a stock can move. So that's a big move. The options move according to the ATR, so the options will move accordingly. So the urban was a great trade according to the ATR of urban. The options move decently as well. Very nice idea. Look at the next one, guys. So the next one we're going to look at is target. So target was, there was a target and there was a JPM. There were two trades. So target was a 512 curl. What you see here is a 512 curl on target. That was our setup. When I saw that curling, I told everybody that we can long that. Your stops right under that candle that I just showed you. And then target is always, the first target is always 3450. Our calls did go 34 to 40% there on that move. Now I want to compare this move with the JPM scalp, which was our long setup, which was our day 2 long setup, and that was the difference, right? The target was bearish, JPM was over the clouds, dip under the clouds, and reclaim that, and that's where we longed it. You see those candles, you see the breakout of 200 because JPM was our day 2 setup. JPM was our day 2 setup, and even on that trade we made 40%, right? We made like 40% on the target, and we made 40% on the JPM trade. But I just want you guys to understand the difference between these two trades, right? So JPM was bullish, turned under clouds and rallied up. And you see here was the level on JPM was 200. That's what we were looking to trade. So as soon as I see that level break out, that's what I tell everybody that we are breaking out of there, and it's confirmed long, as you can see on my timestamped guidance. And we did push, and we did push to 201. We logged some, but when it breaks right back up, and then you get out. The point is you don't lose on these trades, right? Or in these scalp trades, you don't lose. You just, if you don't make enough money, that's fine. But as I'm showing you, there was a 40% gain here and 40% gain there on both these trades. So understand the difference between these two scalp setups. These were the midday cloud scalp setup. JPM is still a bearish 1 hour, so we'll see how it does tomorrow. Target is completely bearish, could not even turn bullish on 1 hour yet, but there's still some money made on both of these in a midday scalp setup. So hopefully you learned that. So on the JP Morgan, so the difference on the JP Morgan that I just explained you, the breakout of that 200 was the one that we were trying to trade, and that was the push that where the calls we took, and that went to 30-40%. So we'll see what JPM does tomorrow. I mean, we still keep it on our day 2, day 3 list. And if you remember yesterday, we were having JPM on the list because it fell off on JP Diamond's comments a day before. So that's this. These are the setups that we keep on our watch. So guys, let's look at some setups that were news today. So there's a news that came out on MSTR middle of the day that White House will not issue the veto threat. And at that time, I was on the voice, and we were curling over 3450 on Coinbase, and then we were curling over MSTR over 34 and 3450 as per our system. And also I think CLSK was moving as well. So if we look at let's see if I can show you our crypto levels. So if I show you my crypto levels, you will see that we had our levels already defined in the pre-market, and we were pushing over those levels. So we knew that we can long scalp it, right? When there's a news, but also the system is telling up it's bullish, then you can trade it, right? You can trade it at long. And MSTR, CLSK, you see the move after the news on all three of these, right? They are over the clouds. You have the risk on the clouds. You trade and hold as long as 512 EMA clouds hold. And once 512 EMA clouds give up, you get out. So so let's look at CELH. I just want to talk about CELH. It was our long term and our swing play, investment play in our community. And we have been long from 48, and even after the earnings, we held on to it. And my target every day was $100. I did not see the push today. I would have taken some off today on this and then hold rest of it, because once we break 100, we're going to push higher on our CELH long term and investment name. Really like CELH, and I don't think it's done yet. All right, guys. Let's analyze NVIDIA. So NVIDIA had earnings today, and of course, crazy earnings. 26 billion revenue just went 3 times, and profit went 7 times. EPS growth of 460%, revenue growth of 260%. Exceptional numbers, right? And what it told us was AI is still hot. And what other important things we take out of that is the dividend and the stock split. So those are two very bullish things that came out of this today's earnings on that. And even there's some growth deceleration which will happen, but regardless, NVIDIA is the leader, right? If AI keeps booming, and we will expect more growth from AI in coming years. Now, how do we trade it tomorrow? So, what is the plan for tomorrow? What are we going to watch in tomorrow? So that is the key. So let's look at the chart. I mean, I did share this chart, and you see there was a 975 was a previous all-time high and then 1000 pivot. So there were two pivots. So it broke over 975, pushed over 1000, and then pushed higher. Now it's all about 1000 tomorrow. If we hold 1000, then you can risk that level to long Nvidia. But if it breaks down under the 1000, it's going to pull down to the previous all-time highs, which was 975. Right, so it's very hard to trade it under 1000 trying to predict where the support would be, which would be the previous all-time highs. So I would prefer it hold 1000, because if it's not holding 1000, then you can short scalp it under 1000. We don't know what will be the levels in the pre-market, but it's just a short-term view. Long term, I think Nvidia is still a good name, and if AI keeps booming, it's gonna go crazy. Look at that the revenue. It was 6 billion a couple of years ago. Now it's 24 billion. So, and at this rate, who knows how much growth it shows, and the stock market just likes the growth. And if we go to the low rate interest environment, Nvidia will be with such a good name. A lot of people are going to jump on it when it goes split. Anyways, other names we will also watch tomorrow is SMCI, Taiwan Semiconductor. We're going to watch all of those. AMD is already our swing. We're going to watch that. All of the semiconductors we have to watch tomorrow, regardless of what Nvidia is doing. Of course, if Nvidia starts to sell off, it would impact a little bit other names. But we want to see Nvidia hold 1000, or worst case push to 970s and bounce. And if that happens, then we trade SMCI, we trade AMD long, Taiwan Semiconductor. So we watch the whole sector together. But the point is that AI is still strong, semis are still strong. There's a lot of growth potential there. So all right, guys, this was all